we're going to announce today that we are launching September 30th, the first full-time voiceover program in the English-speaking world.
It's amazing. It's huge.
Like, I mean,
It's
Harrison, are you excited about it or what? He's like, hands up. No, it's something that we're incredibly proud of. We worked very hard. It was the whole reason that we had this space built.
Absolutely.
Because there was really no reason to kind of get in to do this if we're just going to continue part-time stuff. And we knew that. That's why you came on board, and you've been hugely instrumental in helping make all of this happen. And I couldn't have done this by myself.
No way.
I just couldn't have.
When you go away, it's like, oh my gosh, when is he getting back?
But it's
No, I know.
it was
a joint
huge
venture.
that you came on, because we were able to work together as a team and just go through all of those hoops that we've been through.
Yeah, every possible facet of business, right?
Oh my God.
Legal, real estate,
Financial,
marketing, accounting, you name it, we've done it.
Yeah, we have done it to make it happen. So it's just really we're really proud to be able to offer this, and we've just worked really hard to make it great. It's going to be an awesome program, and it's going to be 24 weeks, so 6 months. There's 12 courses. We're going to cover the main avenues of voiceover, like animation, commercial, narration, audiobooks, dubbing, and video games.
Yep.
And then there's the performance side of things,
which is so key and something we've discovered doing the part-time program. Right, we realized that there are folks that need help in aiding them achieve their goals in commercials, animation, and narration, and in goals like acting and how you move and how you present yourself. So there's all these types of courses. The acting component,
which is huge.
Right.
It's all acting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's voice acting.
It's voice acting.
You are truly acting when you're doing a commercial, when you're obviously an animated character, or if you're doing narration and telling that story. There's so many acting components involved in voiceover. I know we've talked about it, but I just think, I'm not sure people realize how deep the acting component of it goes.
I don't think they do.
Yeah.
They need to reveal who they are in commercials, in reality of who they are, their personality, and then in animation, their imagined personality, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, not to mention the fact that we have a business component, which is huge, and a component that helps you, build a home studio and understand the software, right?
Yeah.
So this is a full package deal.
It's called the Comprehensive Voiceover Training Program
for
Diploma.
a good reason.
Yeah. So we're super excited. We've received accreditation from PTIB, the Private Training Institutions Branch, which is the governing branch in British Columbia that oversees and grants accreditation to schools like us to offer a full-time program at the length that we're doing it. So yeah, I mean it's going to start September 30th. So we're starting right now taking intake and applications for the program. And one of the things we want to talk about is the full-time program versus the part-time.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a huge question.
Because it's like, should I take the full-time or can I take the part-time? And the good news about both is that the full-time program is essentially created from all of our part-time program classes that we've developed over many years and polished and made great. And so that's what the full-time program consists of. But you were talking about earlier, why somebody
might come to us and say, and they often do, like, how many courses do I need to take in order to do a demo or in order to be proficient in animation or commercial? And it varies, especially in the part-time program. It varies on your time. It varies on your other work commitments if you have them, etc. And the full-time program is a culmination of that, where we actually have determined how long that journey is through careful examination and through really thinking about what it entails to be an expert in voiceover and come up with a curriculum that gives us a set time, right? A good use of your time in order to become a voiceover
Because
expert.
Otherwise, if you're doing the part-time classes, they are great, but we're sort of leaving the decision-making of the path up to the student. Now, we will coach you on that if you call Harrison or you talk to your instructors and, hey, what class should I take next or whatever. But this is like an A to Z 6-month program that spells out, okay, here's where you start, here's where you finish. You finish with a demo.
Yeah.
So you get a demo when you're done, which is awesome.
Absolutely.
Right?
You get an agent showcase.
You get an agent showcase. So we're going to do all kinds of things. We're going to send out through Casting Workbook. We're going to send out basically a press release of all the different students graduating with their demos to agents across either this market of Vancouver or their local market of, say, Toronto or LA, New York, wherever they are. So it's going to be pretty powerful stuff. I mean,
very powerful.
You know, to think that you're going to be training 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, plus lab work in Studio B on your own. You're going to have homework. You're going to be reading books. This is going to be it's going to be a very intense process. But my God, I can't imagine the levels that people are going to reach at the end of 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, like, just so you understand, I mean, the curriculum situation is an intent. Like, to create the curriculum, there's so many parameters around that, right?
Huge.
You have to understand
your
learning objective and your measurement.
Yeah.
You need to prove measurement.
That's right.
And I think it's a challenge you and I didn't even know when we got into it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, we'll write, like, what the part-time courses are, and we'll kind of throw it together. And when we really got into it and got help,
it. Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
I mean, we need measurable results. So, I mean, the curriculum is designed around strict scholastic criteria by which we have to measure our success.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
And measure the ability of the student in whatever
to take in the information.
To take in the information and what they're capable of doing with
honestly,
it.
I can't think of another voiceover program out there that is accountable in terms of its measurability.
Yeah.
And that's the key, right?
Yeah.
Are you getting what you need to succeed? That's the question.
Right. Yeah. And
Right?
that's what's going to be exciting, is to see how people develop over 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5. Like,
it's gonna be pretty exciting.
Daily in and out practice. Meetings with instructors and all the things that are going on. The voice and movement, the accents classes, the acting, the business, improv. So there's going to be a class in improv, people can use that in animation. And commercials. How many times have you had to do something in commercials where you're like,
especially playing a character?
Or if it's just like, well, hey, can you just say something here and just kind of fill that in, or come up with a thing and
make sense of it.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just really cool, like, and MP3 auditions.
Yeah.
So again, a huge component of what the business has turned into. It's like, I mean, you and I send off hundreds of auditions.
Yep.
Probably a month, right? I'm sure we do, and it's so we cover the details, the specific details about how to be successful in sending off MP3 auditions, and that is a part-time class that we offer.
What? And that's a real art, and that's something we only introduced fairly recently, because you get a demo and you're out there, you have an agent, all that stuff, but then your agent's sending you MP3 auditions, and now you no longer have the direction of an instructor or a coach. What do you do? How do you handle it?
Yeah.
Right? So
self-direction.
Yeah, even if you're super talented, and you can't self-direct, you're SOL.
And decipher the script and the information and what they're calling for and who's the client, what's the production company, what's their past history with the work they've done, and all of that. How do you filter all that? Give them 2 or 3 takes that is going to go, well, here's my take on it, here's my wheelhouse, and here's what I'm good at doing. And so that's just kind of one little example of the 12 courses that it'll be, and it's we feel like that people that come out of this full-time program will be competitive in any market in the world. That's our goal.
Yeah, and that's interesting, right? Like, I mean, we will have people from international, from other countries, and and we will, and we need to be sensitive to what their markets are. So especially when we talk about the business.
Obviously, it's going to be focused in the English language. So whether you're coming from London or Melbourne
Australia,
or wherever that might be, if you're coming from there, or if you're coming from I don't know, I guess if you're coming from Spain, or maybe it's a different language, then you're going to have to adjust based on what, but it'll all be taught in the English language.
Yeah, of course.
So, because I do know that they do have full-time voiceover programs in Japan. I talked to a guy. He was here for a con, and we had a meeting, and he was like, we train for 6 months to a year, whatever it was, and so that's why we announced it as it's the first in the
English
English-speaking
language,
world, because we know that in L.A., New York, Vancouver, Toronto, this does not exist. So
Right.
to be the first to market on this is really
pretty exciting.
I mean, it's pretty exciting. I mean,
and you know what's interesting, and I think that sometimes we live in Vancouver, and it's not just a local situation. We view ourselves as international voiceover talent. I mean,
because we are.
I mean, Mike, you've done tons of jobs in other countries. So have I. I mean,
Yeah.
I've done corporate video for Saudi Arabia and Egypt
it's
and all
truly
these
global
places,
now.
right?
It's truly global. Yeah.
So I mean, and what's interesting is it's in the English language, but it's in a language that's the corporate language. So if you do corporate narration and you do commercials, no matter where you are, the international language is English. So
Yeah.
we're training you to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Exactly, because so that you can compete globally. And some people may say, well, I'm not going to be living in the main 4 hubs of LA, New York, Vancouver, Toronto, but
Right.
maybe I want to do just online work from, Murray, Kentucky, or
Sure.
from a small town in Utah, or whatever it may be. And that's, good news is we are covering online here.
Yeah, hugely.
That's definitely a huge component of, because the reality is that we both know people that are doing really well in online work and making a living doing,
and
just
not in the
on-
major hubs.
Yeah, and they're not in the major hubs.
Like the voice of GM, I think, lives in Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
It's like
So it's
Yeah.
it's not so much that you need to be in one of the 4 major hubs. It definitely helps, I think, because you get more opportunity to work in that city
and
for what's there,
and get a sense of the market and stuff. Yeah.
right? But if you're gonna just say, well, I want to just do online, taking this program for doing that will still completely benefit you
Totally.
and arm you to be really competitive. And like I said, we do cover a lot about online voiceover in the full-time program. There's specific classes and courses, I should say, for that work. So it's pretty cool. I mean, we're definitely excited, and we're going to get the word out there. And but we wanted, that was our
It's a big announcement.
Big announcement today. I mean,
Yeah.
it's I mean, I would say this is about a 6-year journey that we've been on, in terms of you and I actually saying, okay, I think we can do this.
Yeah.
Like, I think there
To
needs to be
executing it.
a full-time program in voiceover. And that was sort of like, and then we were like, okay, now we need to, wait a minute, we don't need a curriculum, we need a space.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? It was just
Yeah.
this amazing journey of like, okay, get a space. Okay.
And then
well,
getting
now
the loan, and then getting all that
build,
stuff, right?
and then it was like build the curriculum. We had
The real
people
estate
come on
alone
board
took
and-
2 years.
yeah, that was like just to find a place.
Just to find a place
Just to
took
find a place.
2 years.
took 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's but I always felt like we operated from a good intention, and it was an honest intention of like, this is what we want to do, and we worked hard.
Yeah.
And that's that whole idea of like, if someone says, well, I really want to be a voice actor, but I'd like to be successful in 4 months.
Right.
Well, how bad do you want it? I mean,
Yeah.
you and I wanted this really badly.
Yeah.
Like, did we not? I mean,
Absolutely.
to create this full-time program and get it out into the world. And now it's happened. It's going to happen. And so I say to someone who wants to be a voice actor, well, how bad do you want it? Are you willing to work at it for 3 to 5 years before you? Eric Bauza, one of the most successful animation voiceover artists in Los Angeles right now, came from Canada. Played Luke Skywalker in To My Han Solo in Lego Star Wars. He's an amazing guy, killing it down there. And he said it took him 7 years.
No surprise.
7 years, and he is killing it in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Hollywood
Yeah.
voiceover.
Yeah.
That's like, that is the pinnacle.
Yeah, and
You
you know
know?
what does it take to do that? And I think finally we're going to be able to say to folks, we'll jumpstart you.
Huge
hugely.
jumpstart.
Huge
right?
jumpstart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's a very exciting day, and so we wanted to again put it out there. Please check the website. We're going to have more information. Again, you can talk to Harrison at info@onthemictraining.com for questions. There's you can apply on the site. So all the information's there, and we just look forward to seeing who that first
class is
who the
gonna be.
first class is going to be.
Yeah.
We're going to have. Our space is going to be upgraded between now and then to outfit everything, and which is really cool. Looking forward to those changes, and that's it.
And if I were to, not to play devil's advocate, but if I were somebody out there trying to think about questions about this, I'd be like, well, okay, It's probably a decent cost. How am I going to afford this? Why can't I just take classes online and do this? And we've, and I think it's important to address that.
Yeah, I mean, you can learn a little bit for sure by listening to podcasts about voiceover, by watching videos, by maybe even taking an online class.
And there's tons of them out there, right? Tons.
But unless you do the dance between the voice director in there and you yourself being the talent in this booth, you can't. That's the dance that is in the professional world. You have to do that dance and get good at that and get comfortable in here.
Well, let's talk about that, because why can't I take a class online and get the same out of that? What's the difference of being in a studio and being directed? What's like in a class? What's the difference?
Spatially or like physically?
Well, yeah, like what's the advantage of being in a class with folks and having a director there, and when I can just do that at home?
I think because when you're in the room itself, and you're not only you're going to learn a ton by being in the room yourself physically and listening and learning and taking direction from the voice director themselves, you're also picking up the energy and the nerves and all the things that people learn and experience while they're learning.
Yeah.
While you're in the room with them. And that is where the huge value comes from by taking in-studio classes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you can't get it online. You can't feel that. You can't feel what it's like to be in a studio if you're, like in your office and someone's in another city and you're doing video conferencing. Because you know what? When you get into that session, when you're with 9 other voice actors in a prelay series, or you've got 5 clients from New York City, 5 of them on the phone, and you're in the booth by yourself doing a $40,000 campaign, and it's all riding on the line, and you have not practiced being in that room, there is no way you are going to be comfortable in pulling that off.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
Especially if you're just used to sitting in front of your computer with a screen.
Exactly.
That's not going to work. I mean, and to answer my own question and take what you said further, I feel like it's what you learn in a space with people is connection, right?
Yeah.
A tangible connection to connect to other people.
Yeah.
And to feel the physicality of your performance, which cannot be communicated, I think, through a screen or online classes.
No.
And to also have a level of measurement from other people. How do you know how good you are? By yourself, it's not going to work.
No way.
Right?
No.
So I think that's something that, again, I'm trying to anticipate folks who are asking these questions and are curious about it, because they're going to want to. They're going to have these questions about it, right?
Yeah. Why should I spend that time or that money on it? And it's like, well, this is what we're trying to do is legitimize the profession of voiceover. We're trying to say to the world,
it's a profession.
Okay, hold on a second. This isn't some gimmicky, subterranean little Wild West job that you can somehow pick up enough work to make a living or get into. And it's not a game. This is a real live profession that thousands and hundreds of thousands of people are doing on a daily basis around the world.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to say, all right, well, it's a legitimate profession. Here's a legitimate program, full-time program that if you have 6 months time and you can commit to it, then we're gonna teach you in that way. And right.
And the good news is voiceover has opened up to thousands and thousands of people, right? And it's accessible. It's you can do it. Anybody can do it. The bad news is that it has opened up to thousands and thousands of people, and anybody can do it because there's so much competition now, right?
But the good news is you have to be great.
Yeah. And how do you be great? Like before, like when we started, right, there was still a handful of folks. You had to work hard and get into it, but once you were into it, you're pretty much into it.
Yeah.
These days.
But let me just add to that, because I totally get that.
Yeah.
But did we not still have to be great?
Of
course.
Were
you not still great?
Absolutely.
20 years ago?
Yes.
Like when I did the voice of Ace Ventura, my first thing, dude, I worked
No, I know you did. I remember hearing that
every single day.
I know.
On the audition, and then I went into the studio. I was like worked hugely hard on that voice
for sure
to be great.
For sure, but now back then, if you got with an agent, right? If I got with an agency, I would have access to auditions that people who were not with an agency simply didn't have.
Yeah, exactly.
Nowadays, it's a bit of a more open forum.
It's a little more open, yeah.
So it is more of a profession. That's why you need more training. That's why you need to be super ready.
Yeah, and it's sort of interesting too. I think about when I started, like I definitely studied and trained with various folks, and I had acting coaches like Uta Hagen and Larry Moss, and I just trained in acting for a long time and did a lot of on camera for a while, and then have certainly focused more on voiceover. But if you and I had, a full-time program 20 years ago, I wonder what that would have been like. For you and I to have just, because you went to VADA or no?
I trained as an actor in England, right?
In England, at
drama studio. Yeah,
drama studio. So how long was that program?
2 years.
That was 2 years. So I'm thinking, like, if you would have said, okay, well, I did my 2 years in London. What if I do 6 months of voiceover training on top of that and get that component covered?
Yeah.
I just sort of, it's
huge.
You would have been, your voiceover would have been, you'd be 5 years ahead.
5 years ahead,
wouldn't you not be?
Totally.
Because you had to learn all that stuff kind of on your own and just sort of, you took classes from Stewart in New York and got that going, but having that jump would have been huge. Yeah.
Yeah, and people don't realize it. Like, when you think about the amount of coaching that you do when you get into voiceover, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take some online classes and blah blah, and you do that and you get to one level, and then you do more coaching, and then you do more. If you add that up over 3 or 4 years, it's certainly the amount that you would pay for a full-time program that you get in 6 months with us.
Yeah. And the other thing too, if you amortize the cost of any kind of coaching, or let alone our full-time program, you amortize that cost over a 25-year career.
Yeah,
it's really nothing.
Yeah, it's
nothing. Now I still have coaching, and so do you.
Yeah.
We still have coaching out of LA and stuff like that because we need it, and you're always redefining. But amortize that. You have people that they're making what lawyers and doctors make.
I know.
As a voiceover talent. So
people don't realize that. Like when you're a top shop, you're making decent money.
It's high level.
Right.
Yeah.
So what would you pay for law school? Right.
What would you pay for law school?
People pay $80,000 a year for law school.
At least, right? Or maybe at a state college, or
for
it's a little bit less. Maybe it's 20 to 30, but still they're walking out with $100,000 student loan bill or more at least.
Yeah.
And then they amortize that cost over. So we're saying, well, hey, be a voiceover professional for 25 years and amortize this cost over 25 years.
It's not unreasonable to say that you could book a job, one job that could pay for the whole program.
Yeah.
And that's
and you and I have both experienced that, and
absolutely.
many voiceover artists have. So
yeah.
Those jobs are out there. It's really about, in the end, it's not about the money. It's really about just being great. If you're great, all of it will just flow. All of it will come. It's not about any of that.
Don't chase the money, for sure.
Yeah, it's just right. It's like, and money is a part of it. Of course it is. You got to live, and you got to pay your bills and rent and mortgage or whatever it is. People may have children that they got to cover. All I'm saying is that if you focus on being great and you work it, and that's your focus, then the rest will come.
Yeah,
the success will come because they'll want you.
Yeah,
right. They will want you if you are great.
And that's what we're trying to do, right? By the full-time program, we're trying to create a Harvard of voiceover,
exactly.
right? Yeah. Not some dinky operation. We're trying to set a standard.
Setting a standard, yeah.
And that's not ego-driven. We are because we're respecting the standard in voiceover. We're respecting the standard that we've understood for 20 years.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to structure it.
Yeah.
And institutionalize it.
Yeah. So that is our big announcement. Thank you, Noel, for all that you've done to help create this, because, I didn't know any of this was possible when I started this back in 2007 in a small little art space. We built this mini little one-person studio in a corner of this little our art space in Olympic Village or whatever, in Falls Creek, and had no idea when I started it then that I would team up with you.
Yeah,
you and I would be sitting here.
I know.
So thank you for coming on board. I'm honestly, I really thank you for everything you've done.
Right back at you. For all of you out there, I was teaching class. Mike was running a school, and he approached me to teach, and and it was great. I mean, he kind of, I wasn't great at marketing at that point, and it really helped out. And not only did you take me on, but then with that partnership idea,
the conversation just started.
It just
started talking.
Yeah,
I mean, we'd have meetings and talk, and then
what we've learned and what you've taught me, you know, is immeasurable. So I think
learned
you
a lot from you too. Learned a lot from you too.
Hugely. So here we
go.
So
there you go, folks.
Yep.
You know, hit us up for questions, or you can apply online. Yeah. And we can't wait to see who the first class is. This is really exciting.
Very exciting.
Awesome.
Okay.